Last Dance episodes 5 and 6 were a little bit over the midpoint of the documentary. And the theme that I got from both parts 5 and 6 was be careful what you ask for because you actually might get it. And one of the key components about this that they spoke about with Michael Jordan in particularly was fame, the price of fame. You know, when he was in the hotel room in his black shirt, white sweatpants, he was like, man, he was like, I was just chilling. I was in a good mood. The goal was to watch TV all day. And then they broke down how people say they want to be Michael Jordan for a day. And then Mike said, but you wouldn't want to be me for an entire year. Just the grind, not only the grind of playing at a high caliber, but also acquiescing to your fans, holding up and maintaining a pristine image. So many obligations where he only get 10 minutes to sit here, 10 minutes to sit there, and you're just looking at a man who is exhausted. And that is to be careful what you ask for because he wanted to be in NBA. He wanted to be the best player. But this is what comes along with being the best player in the game. You have so many obligations and so many obligations that and expectations that people set upon you day in and day out where you can't even be yourself. It was at one point in part 6 where Michael went to a gamble after being down, I believe 1-0 or 2-0 to the New York Knicks. And it got so bad, the criticism that he faced, he said, I'm not talking to the media anymore. Magic Johnson even went as far as to the media and say, you're going to drive this man out of basketball. Like, for the media, be careful what you ask for. Because around 98, Mike could have still played a couple more years. But since the media was so hard on harping on his ass about gambling and other little things, they pushed him out of the game. All throughout the parts 5 and 6, you can see be careful what you ask for. Jerry Krause wanted Kukoc because he felt like Kukoc was the future of the Chicago Bulls. Be careful what you ask for. They showed Kukoc like, hey, you're not really ready for this kind of contact in the Olympics. Everything that you saw and envisioned about being Michael Jordan is like, then you really looked at him like he basically was entrapped by his own fame, where he even said it in the hotel room. He says, I'm confined by these four cornered walls. I'm just confined by these walls. Like, that's it. This is where my own little solitude is at. So it was interesting. And then the whole book about the Jordan rules and, you know, coming out about him gambling. That was the shit I was waiting for. Now we got to the meat and to the potatoes of the whole entire thing, where this is the Michael Jordan I grew up watching because, you know, I was born in late 80s, so I didn't get to see the early stages of his career, the pristine Mike, the most beloved of all time Mike. I got to see more of that gambling side, that fiery side. That's what I was only seeing, like, you know what I'm saying, like all of the dirt. And when that came out, that was like, this is the Mike I know. Like the gambling debts for golf, the Richard Esquina, Michael and Me, that's the Michael I knew. Documentary shed a lot of light on was James Buller, a slim Buller. You know, Mike owed him $57,000, and you know he said that it was a loan when it really was a gambling debt that, you know, he was paying off to him. And it just went into the intricacies of fame and why can't I do something that I want to do? You know, when he had his interview with Ahmad Rashad, he was like, I don't have a gambling problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just like to gamble. I like to, you know, I like to compete. I like to put some money on the line. You know what I'm saying? And what he said made a lot of sense because he's betting money that he has. He's not selling any of his championship rings. He's not doing anything illegal or anything to that nature. But the thing is he has the halo. He's Michael Jordan. He's not supposed to be doing so many devilish things. So that was quite interesting, and that is the crux of, to me, why he left basketball. And not only once, you know, he retired twice because it was a grind. 2 3-peats. And then, you know, this is another thing about be careful what you ask for. The Bulls asked for a GM that was progressive, could make changes, can bring in players. it got to the point where you got a guy that was so progressive. He was progressing past the Michael Jordan era. He was saying that this is cool, we winning, but let me look at cool coach. Let me start bringing in other guys. Let me start figuring out a plan after Michael. So it's like, be careful what you ask for because you're always going to get too much of a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Too much of a good thing could be a bad thing. And people, you would never think it's so. But then when Michael was explaining how he has no time to himself, really no time for his family, even his dad had to be his human shield for gambling questions. And that's just the mark of a good dad. Because even Tiger Woods' dad, when Tiger was cheating and had all the women would basically go through Tiger's dad, and Tiger's dad would fix everything and shield Tiger from any kind of anything I'll leave him blameful. So he left Tiger blameless, and that's what dads do for their sons in a sense. They a lot of the time they take a rap unless your name is Ghost and you play a position in power and your son's name is Tariq. Then you're not taking any rap for nobody like that. But for the most part, dads would. For their sons, they're taking a lot of the heat for their sons, parents in general. So, but it just goes to show you where Mike couldn't get any kind of solitude to himself, and that's the price of fame. Everybody, you think like you want to be famous until you can't sleep, or people know where you live, or people are going through your trash, or you're in a hotel room, but you got to meet this person, you got to do this interview. Like after he won the '93 championship, and he was like, can I sit down? And he's like, is there anything else that I have to do? Is there anything else I have to do? That just goes to show you, it wasn't even a sense of joy. He was just like relieved. This is all over, man. We're done for now. I'm all set. And then the Olympics was very telling because this is what Mike turned on his business hat. He didn't want the Reebok logo to show on his warm-up outfit and everything like that. He covered it with the American flag. I didn't even know about the politics in there. So that's the thing also where you got to be careful what you ask for. You got all this fame, you got all this money, but then you got to play politics. And some people don't know how to play politics. They only know one thing. They know go mode. You know what I'm saying? They know like, somebody says something to me I don't like, I'm going to go at them. But Michael in the car, he was strategizing. He's like, look, watch this. I'm going to block this logo, and it's going to be a way that I didn't even think about. The whole entire 2 hours, all I felt was, be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you ask for. They tried to focus on the basketball. They tried, show you how he tried to drive himself to win championships and everything like that. But to me, it seemed like he's always wanted out of the game, but it's like the game needed him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the vibe you got. I can't, like Jay-Z said, I can't leave now. The game needs me. Like, that's how it was with Michael. Like, the game needed him. Now, you understand why Mike leads a life of anonymity. All his charitable donations are anonymous. When 9/11 hit, he donated his whole yearly salary for 9/11 victims. He's not an activist, but everything philanthropy wise he does is in private. He lives his life in private. He parties in private. And now you see why, because for about 20 years of his life, 15, 20 years of his life, he's lived in the public eye to such a high degree. This is pre-social media. So, just imagine if he played during the social media age. These people was on his ass pre-social media. Imagine post, social media time. They'll be everywhere he goes, you see a post. They'll probably have a thing called a ping. Instead of finding where's Waldo, where's Michael. That's how bad it would be. They were all over Mike. All day, every day. The whole entire team. So it's kind of crazy to see. Hoops Junction, where hoops meets hoopla. Like, comment, subscribe.